Dear friends, welcome to InQUEST, in-depth analysis and to the point. In this video, let us discuss about second week September current affairs 2021, and this is part 2 of this week. And this activity is useful for your UPSC, KPSC and all other competitive examinations. And what is the index of today's discussion? Number one, India's first indigenously designed methanol production plant. So this has been developed by Bhel. Next, we will be studying about a campaign. So that's called as Maybe Digital 3.0 campaign. Then we will be studying about 13th BRICS summit that was recently held in India, various discussions that went by in this summit. Then scientists peek into the sun by estimating magnetic fields using radio observations. So using radio observations, scientists actually estimated the magnetic field in sun. Let us see the significance of this estimation. Next, DRDO hands over air defense missile, so that is called as MRSAM system to Indian Air Force. So in this article we will be discussing about the speciality of this particular missile. So first and foremost, the first news that we will be discussing is about Bhel Research and Development Center, Hyderabad. So this has come up with a new method of production of methanol. So in this article, we will be studying the significance of methanol and what is the new method by which India could produce methanol. So this is India's first indigenously designed high ash coal gasification based methanol production plant at Bhel Research Center, Hyderabad. Now, what is the importance of methanol? Methanol is actually utilized as motor fuel to power ship engines. So ship engines, to power ship engines, we usually use methanol as motor fuel, and it also helps in generating clean power all over the world. So we know that methanol is not the greenhouse gases that in turn increases the global warming. So that is the reason why methanol is called as clean power. So it is used worldwide actually to reduce emission. So methanol is also used to generate DME, that is dimethyl ether. So this is very, very important solvent. It is a liquid fuel that is very much similar to diesel. So this dimethyl ether is very much similar to diesel, and existing diesel engines simply need to be minimally changed to use DME instead of diesel. Now, what is the major difference between diesel and DME is diesel produces a lot of carbon dioxide that contributes to increase in greenhouse gases that definitely increases global warming. But DME doesn't cause any pollution that will not contribute to the global warming. But one more advantage of DME is the existing automobiles that are already there that need not be drastically modified to use dimethyl ether. They should be only minimally changed. So in a way, so it is win-win situation, because industries, automobile industries also saved, that helps in economy. At the same time, it will also increase our the concerns about the environment. So this is definitely a very good move. And the majority of worldwide methanol production is derived from natural gas. So India, one of the problems is we don't have natural gas, but where elsewhere in the world, the methanol production is actually derived from natural gases. So which is a relatively easy process. So in the sense, conversion of natural gas into methanol or production of methanol from natural gas is relatively easy process. But problem for India is we do not have much natural gas reserves. So producing methanol from imported natural gas. So one of the options is we need to import natural gas from other countries, but that leads to outflow of foreign exchange, and sometimes it is uneconomical due to excessive prices of natural gas. So natural gas, since it is not, it is excessive in prices, so this sounds uneconomical. That is, importing natural gases from other countries and producing methanol is not effective or economical. Now, what is the other option? The next best option is to utilize India's abundant coal. So since we know that we have abundant coal in our country, so even now the major thermal production happens due to major electricity production that happens to coal. So we can best use or make use of abundant coal, that is the resource that is abundantly there in India. However, due to high ash percentage, so there is a problem once again. Due to high ash content of Indian coal, most internationally accessible technology will not be adequate for our demand. So even though we have most sophisticated international technology, that is not adequate because our coal has high percentage of ash. Now, what is the solution? To address this issue, BHEL Research and Development Center at Hyderabad began working on Indian high ash coal gasification in the year 2016 with the support of the NITI Aayog to produce 0.25 tons per day of methanol. The methanol purity of the crude methanol produced is between 98 to 99.5 percentage. So this is of great purity of methanol that is produced by BHEL in collaboration with or in support of NITI Aayog. So this endeavor led to the formation of in-house design expertise in BHEL for designing greater capacity coal gasification facilities, which will provide necessity impetus to our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this in-house capability will assist Indian coal gasification mission and coal to hydrogen production. So this will in-house capability will assist India's coal gasification mission and coal to hydrogen production for hydrogen mission. So these are the two objectives that is going to be met by this particular conversion of high ash content coal into methanol. So this was the news about methanol production in India. And news number 2 is actually related to Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So they are coming up with a campaign that is called as Maybe Digital 3.0. So this is a special campaign for digital onboarding and training for street vendors. So street vendors will be pushed into or they will be encouraged to use digital payment methods. So that campaign is called as Maybe Digital 3.0. So Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is coming up with this particular campaign. This has been already launched as the pilot drive Maybe Digital 3.0, a special campaign for digital onboarding and training for street vendors under PM Swanidhi scheme. So I'll talk about PM Swanidhi later in this presentation. Scheme across 223 cities in the country. Now let's see more about it. The Bharat Pay, M-Swipe, PhonePe, Paytm, Aceware are participating in this drive to issue UPI IDs and QR code providing digital training. PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, in short called as Swanidhi, was launched on 1st June 2020 as a central sector scheme. So PM Swanidhi, as I told you, it is PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi. So in short, it is called as Swanidhi. It was actually launched on June 1, 2020. The scheme facilitates affordable working capital loan of up to 10,000 rupees with an interest subsidy at 7% on regular payment. So under which 10,000 loan will be granted to street vendors, and if their payment is good, then they will give subsidy of around 7% on their interest. The street vendors are not required to pay any collateral for the loan. So they need not show any collateral to avail this loan. The scheme provides graded guarantee cover to lending institutions on a portfolio basis. The scheme targets to cover 50 lakh street vendors who had been vending on or before March 24, 2020. So they should be already street vendors before March 24, 2020. So they are not covering anybody that if they are street vendors after this particular date. The street vendors also stand a chance to avail a loan of 20,000 and 50,000 in second and third tranches respectively on timely repayment of the loan. So if they prove to be repaying the loan promptly, then they will be eligible for 20,000 and 50,000 as second and third tranches respectively on timely repayment. To encourage digital transaction, a cashback of up to 1,200 on digital transactions at 100 per month. So 100 per month will be 1,200 per year is provided to street vendors under this scheme. So SIDBI has been appointed as implementation agency for the scheme administration. So this is the news about, maybe scheme 3.0. Next, we'll talk about BRICS. So BRICS seeks inclusive infra-Afghan dialogue. So this is due to the terrorism attack or, the conversion of Afghanistan into Taliban. So this is the major point of discussion in 13th BRICS summit. And dear friends, what is BRICS? What are their objectives? What is the structure of BRICS and everything? The history of BRICS. We have already recorded a video. So if you want to know more about BRICS, you can click on the I button on this video to know about BRICS, or I will have given link also in the description box. You may watch using that link as well. So the 13th BRICS summit held virtually and called for an inclusive intra-Afghan dialogue for stability in Afghanistan. The virtual summit, this was actually chaired by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and it was dominated by the developments in Afghanistan and adopted. So we adopted finally, I mean to say the BRICS nations adopted BRICS counter-terrorism action plan in the 13th summit. The discussions on Afghanistan at the event attended by the leaders of India, Russia, China, Brazil, and South Africa was held against the backdrop of the Taliban announcing an interim government in Kabul. The BRICS leaders called for settling the situation by peaceful means. We underscore the priority of fighting terrorism, including preventing attempts by terrorism organizations to use Afghan territory as territory sanctuary and to carry out attacks against other countries, declared a joint statement issued at the end of the summit. So at the end of the summit, so there was a joint declaration or joint statement that was issued to make sure that preventing attempts by the terrorism organization to use Afghan territory as the territory sanctuary to attack other nations, like how they have attacked Afghanistan right now. The document titled the New Delhi Declaration also called for addressing the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan and urged the need to uphold rights of women, children, and minorities. And what are the other points that were majorly discussed? Number one, reforming multilateral system, then UNSC, United Nations Security Council reforms, space and climate cooperation, then agricultural cooperation and green tourism. So these are all the other things that were discussed in the 13th summit of BRICS. Now let's move on to news number 4. So this is related to MRSAM, that is medium range surface to surface missile. Who has developed it? DRDO hands over air defense missile MRSAM system to Indian Air Force. And this development, this MRSAM will prove to be a game changer in the air defense system, terms it as a joint leap towards achieving Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, what is MRSAM? Now, what actually it does? MRSAM provides air defense. So very, very important. So it is going to provide air defense against aerial threats. So this is how it actually functions. So it is going to protect us from aerial threats like fighter aircrafts, UAVs, that is unmanned aerial vehicles, guided and unguided ammunitions. It is ammunitions and cruise missiles. This is capable of engaging multiple targets at the ranges up to 70 kilometers. So it can target up to 70 kilometers. And best part of this is indigenously developed rocket motor and control system for achieving high maneuverability. And this is developed as state-of-art missile system. And who has developed it? In a significant boost to Indian defense capabilities, the first deliverable firing unit. So this is a firing unit of medium range surface to air missile. So this in short called as MRSAM system was handed over to Indian Air Force. So who has developed it? The MRSAM is an advanced network-centric combat air defense system. It was developed jointly by DRDO, that is Defense Research and Development Organization, then Israel Aerospace Industries, that is IAI, in collaboration with Indian industry comprising of private and public sector, including MSMEs. So majorly DRDO and IAI, that is Israel Aerospace Industries, actually contributed in the development of this MRSAM. So this is the news about MRSAM. So with this, let us move to news number 5, that is Ministry of Science and Technology. Now, this news is related to Ministry of Science and Technology. The news is the scientists peek into the sun by estimating magnetic field using radio observation. So the atmosphere, surrounding the sun, that's called as corona. So the scientists were able to, or rather are able to identify or measure the magnetic field at this place, and that is going to help us know the interior of the sun, because practically no experimentation can be done inside the sun. So measurement of magnetic field at corona outside the surface or atmosphere of the sun is going to help us know the interior of the sun. So let us see the complete details of the same. So Indian scientists along with international collaborators have measured the magnetic field of an eruption from the sun's atmosphere. This is by observing weak thermal radio emission associated with the erupted plasma for the very first time. So this has been measured, using weak thermal radiation emission. So this is associated with the erupted plasma for the very first time, offering a rare peek to the interior of the sun. So this helps us to know the interior of the sun. The study of the phenomenon happening in the sun's atmosphere or the solar corona provides insights into the inner working of the sun. So as I told you before, so this is going to give us insights into the inner working of the sun. The sun is an extremely active object, spewing out vast quantities of gas in many violent events, and the corona is a region of very high temperatures, strong magnetic fields, and violent plasma eruptions. So there will be lot of violent plasma eruptions because the sun is extremely active object and it keeps spewing out vast quantities of gases. A class of such eruptions are coronal mass ejection. So such type of eruptions, one of such type of eruptions is titled as coronal mass ejections. These coronal mass ejections are the most powerful explosions happening in our solar system. So these are the most powerful eruptions that are happening in our solar system. When a really strong CME, in the sense coronal mass ejection, blows past the earth, it can damage the electronics in our satellites and disrupt radio communication networks on the earth. So this is the most important part of our communication. One is it is going to affect the electronics in our satellites, and it is also going to disrupt our radio communication network on earth. So hence astronomers regularly study these events. This field of research helps to understand space weather. So such research is very much important to make sure that our satellites and radio communications will not be affected by such explosions. So this is where, as I told you, the corona outer atmosphere of the sun, this is where the magnetic field has been measured. So this is going to help us know the interior of the sun. So this is the latest development by the scientists. So with this, the episode we are concluding. So if you have any questions, you can definitely put in comments box. Thanks for watching. Namaskara.